So now we are creating our service layer. So I am creating here new package service says. Now in that service, the first service we are using is that user service means actually this is not a class. It should not be a class. Let's see. User service interface. So why I use this interface? So basically, interface defines what operations are available while the implementation class defines. So, so I will understand. So let's understand through one diagram. So let's understand through one diagram. I am creating one file, the main and okay. So what we have do, we have created one interface for user service. So for now, we are just creating a service for three things: register, login, and get profile. But in future, there will be a multiple services. Like if I have to, like here, user service only implement this only this service, register, and here the main code, and here the main code, and here the main code. But if we want to implement more user services like this, means user services, but register, login, get profile, but they are simplified. They are also categorized in three versions. That is user service. Then it may be admin user service. Then it may be a mock user service. So for admins user, there are admin features. These are for testing users, and these are for the main user. So in future, if we have to add these functions, then it is difficult. So for that, we are using interface here. So I have write the code. So here we have created only three services like user response. We have declared this user response in our DTO. This will return the response in this format. Okay. Then to pass this function, we have used register request format of request. Means we are passing only this format. We are passing only full name, email, password, mobile, and it will return in the format of user response. So now you can relate this user response with this user response and this register request with this register request. Similar with login response. Login login response, how it look like this? It will look like this. We have declared here the main structure of it, and what parameter we have to pass? We have to pass the parameters similar to login request. Here we have declared the structure for login request. For login request, we just required email and password, nothing else. So now we have created these three functions. Now we have to see their implementation. So in services, I am creating one more folder name implementation. Okay. So in this, I am giving the I mean like user service implementation, or I can write in short. Yeah, good. Uh, right. So, so in this folder, I am creating a class for user service implementation. So here we have only declared the function, and what those functions are, we are declaring here in user service implementation. So let's see. First of all, uh, how our Spring Boot will understand this is a service. So for that, you have to mention this is a service. Likewise, we have also mentioned here this is a repository and this is the entity. So this is a service. Okay. Now, this is the class, but what it implements, we have to mention that this user service will implement this user service. So mention here that it implements user service. So now it is here. Okay. Now see actually how the service implementation will work. So let's understand it step by step. So whatever the function we have declared in this user service, we have to complete these all functions. So let's see now we are introducing a new topic, that is a constructor injection. So so before that, we are creating a one object for user repository that is we have created already. So this is our function. So what it says that create a one object for this user repository. So what we have declared that we have to find by email and exit by email, these two. So let's see constructor injection. So we are creating one constructor for user service implementation, such that in which we are passing our user repository. So we have created a object for our user repository, and what we are doing, we are passing that object through a constructor injection, and we are assigning this value. So basically, this is the recommended way to inject dependencies in our Spring Boot. Basically, Spring automatically gives this user repository object to our service implementation through the constructor. So the service can access the database without creating the repository itself. Now we can access the database. Now let's break down the register method. So first, what we are trying to code now is user will come and enter the details, and we will check if the email is already exist or not, and if not exist, then we proceed, and if exist, then throw the exception, throw the error that it already exists. For user service, the service can be for a register, it can be for a login. Before writing a code for a login service and register service, I have mentioned here one private response function, map to user response function. So now we don't want to send the entire user object that we have written from our services to the client, because sometimes it may contain some sensitive data like password. So we have to ensure that while we return the response should only contain the things that client need. Now the client doesn't need the password, so we are not returning the password. So now user response that we have already declared in our DTO in that format. Now we are mentioned here dot builder. So dot builder start building a new user response object, and it and that object will contain ID which is generated from this. That object contains full name. That full name is collected from this function. Likewise, we are collecting the information and save in this particular object. And now dot build, by mentioning that, this means that we have finished the object creation and return it. So in simple terms, this is like create whatever I write in between the builder and build will be considered as a one object. So okay, now we have complete in which format we have to return the response. Now, so now we have to implement the service. So in services, what we have mentioned, we required three services, one for register, second for login, third for get token. So first write for a register service. So as we have declared here, so we have to mention one thing that at the rate override. So this tells Java that this method is implementing a method declared already in user service. So after this, it will not confuse. Now let's write a function call which return in format of the return time should be in the user response format. Then the function name is register, and in which we are passing the parameter like a register request format. Okay. Now, the basic thing we have to user will send the registration details. Okay, will send. So first, what we have to check before doing actual registration, we have to check whether this user will exist already exist in our database or not. So for that, let's write a function if user repository dot exist by email and request dot email request dot getting. Okay, yeah. Now this will throw a new runtime exception uh, which contain a message like uh, respect to that, and we have to pass that email is already registered. I think register statement. Okay, we can say email is already exist. Okay, so this will check whether exist by email or not. If exist, then return if exist, then throw a runtime exception that email is already exist. Okay, now we have checked, and if not, then it will come through this step. So now let's get a one object for whatever the data we have received from this request. We temporarily store those data in one temporary object. We can name that object as a user. Now here we are using again the builder. So I have write one object. In that object, I have saved the details that I received from this request. So okay, now we have the details what we have received from the user response. Now let's save these details. So how we can save? We can save like uh, save. We again create one object like named saved user, and user repository we are using, and we are just calling a function from our repository that save user. Now you can understand why this repository is useful, because we just call one line that say user repository save, and we have passed only the object. We didn't write any a single SQL query. So that's the magic of a Spring JPA. But keep in mind that Spring Data JPA has automatically convert this into an SQL insert query. So that JPA is we have declared in our repository here. This JPA, I am talking about this JPA. This JPA will automatically convert the request into the required SQL query. Now we have done. So what we are doing, we are returning the response, and now we are returning the response in the format of now. What we have received here, we have received in the format of this request, okay, but it contains the password. Okay, so what we want, we don't want password to expose. So for that, we are returning to a map response, map to our response, that is saved user. Okay, whatever data will contain, whatever the data will receive from this object will be passed to this, and in map to user response, we have make sure that we haven't write the password here. Okay, that's done. So now we have complete our register request. Our register service has been completed. Now let's move to our next request, that is login request. Before that, mention that override we are overriding one function named public login, which return type is login response, and function named login, and we are passing the parameters in the format of login request. Okay, now user will send the now for login. What user is sending the email and the password. What we have to do, we have to search for the user using the email. If no user is found, we have to throw the error, and if found, then we have to do necessary conditions. Okay. So first, we are creating one object in which we are saving the information from the user repository. We are using the one function that find by email. Now, in that email, we are passing our request dot get email. Okay. Now we are passing this. Okay. But let's see. But what is but in find by email? Okay. One thing is in our repository, what we have mentioned here that find by email can be optional, means it can return a null value. So we have to handle that null value also. So to handle that null value, we are mentioning here that all else throw what to throw. It has to throw a new runtime exception with message invalid credentials, or we can say invalid email or password. Okay. Login response. We have collected one object, one response from here. If it is null, then it will throw the error. Otherwise, it will get more. Okay. Now we have saved this request in this user. If if it is available in our database, it will go further. Otherwise, it will return invalid email or password error. Okay. Now what we have to do? We have to check the password. If uh, user password is not correct. Okay. User password is equals to request dot get password. Then throw new runtime exception which contain message like invalid email or password. Okay. So you might get confused. In both we are returning the same message, but not. This message is for this is used when if user haven't entered any input in a input field, but still it has submitted for login request. This is for that. And this is when the actual password or email is invalid. So here we can also write that the field is null, but okay. One thing we have, okay, what we do wrong is we have, okay, we have insert one extra bracket here. Okay, yeah, done. Now I think this is correct. Okay, this is for this, and this for completing this. Okay, now we are correcting whatever the response in the same format user response. We have created one object and we are converting in our required user format. Okay, yes. Now we are returning what we are returning here. We are returning now the login response through the builder method, which contain one message like login successful, login successful, then user response. Okay, that okay, not okay. Will on this. Okay, enough. So now I think we have done with the login service. So, okay, what is our third service is so okay. Before Moving third service. Let's have we miss anything? I guess no. Okay. Now, what is our third service? Third service is about get profile. So let's see what is the get profile. So first we have to mention that we override it. Then the return type of it is like a user response. Then function name is get profile. And what parameter we are passing? We are passing only the user ID. Okay. And okay. Now for getting the profile, what we have to do? We have to search the we have to search by user ID in our database. Okay. We are collecting okay. Now user we are creating a variable name user. We are not creating a new user object ourselves. We are receiving the user object returned by the database. Okay. Okay. What this will contain? So basically this will contain uh, we have to search by ID. Okay. So we are using our repository. So go to repository, find by ID, find by ID. Okay. In which we are passing our ID. Okay. But what if the ID doesn't exist? Okay, that may be the case to handle. We can mention or else what we can do is just throw or an exception error. Okay, throw a new runtime exception with containing the message that user not found, user not found. Okay, okay. What it shows, why this red line from. Okay, we have missed here the keyword throw. Okay, now okay. If exist, then return. If not exist, then return user not found. Now again, we have to return the in our basic format, that is map to user response format, map to user response, that is user response. Okay. Okay. So I think we have done with our service layer now. What we have to, what we have completed here, we have completed the whole part here.